Hi everyone, Materim here again with battle number one of two battles that happened at our club here last night. This was the last day we have to practice before the tournament that we're coming up against this weekend. And this battle is going to be Lord Alphoneous and his Bretonnians versus Lizardmen army, 3,000 points. And the Lizardmen army is actually being played by the gentleman who is TOing the tournament. Since this was our first time, he very graciously agreed to come over and play with us a couple games and kind of give us a more tournament feel than we're usually used to, as we play things pretty casual, pretty fast and loose here. So he asked of his many armies he had what we wanted to play, and since neither myself nor Lord Alphonius has played Lizardmen before, this is what we picked. So it should be a fun game, and I'll be following this one up with my ogres taking on the same exact army. So let's go ahead and get into Bretonnian deployment. So here in the corner we have a peasant trebuchet. We also have a unit of 5 mounted yeomen on the front side of that hill. Next to that is a unit of Knights of the Realm, and that has his BSB in it, which is a paladin with the Grommel Grape Helm and the Mantle of Damsel Elena. Then the next unit there, the white one, is actually a unit of Grail Knights. All he has in there is a level 2 Damsel of the Lady. She has the Silver Mirror and is of Lore of Beasts. Next to that is another Knight of the Realm unit that has his Lord in it with the Sword of Swift Slaying, the Armor of Agaluf, the Dragonbane Gem, and a Potion of Foolhardiness and the Virtue of Heroism for Heroic Killing Blow. There's also another Damsel of the Lady in there, level 2 Lore of Beasts with a Dispel Scroll. The unit also has a War Banner on it. And the Green Knight model that was in the last picture is just a stand-in for a normal Paladin with the Lance of Artois and the Virtue of the Joust. In this picture, he actually has a unit of 3 Pegasus Knights, but his Pegasus Knights keep breaking off the bases, so he's just got the one there marking where the unit is. Right behind that is a unit of Errant Knights. He has his Prophetess of the Lady in with them. She has the Channeling Staff, the Crown of Command, and the Lore of Heavens. Then in the corner you have his second Trebuchet and a 5-man unit of peasant yeomen for another unit of Fast Cap. So for the Lizardmen, we start off with a Skink Chief on a Pterodon. Then on top of the hill, there's a unit of Skink Skirmishers. Then there's a unit of Temple Guard with his Slan Mage Priest in there, who's also serving as his BSB. He has the Banner of Swiftness on him, the Channeling Staff, Harmonic Convergence, the Obsidian Amulet, and Wandering Deliberations. Then right next to that, he has a Stegodon with Sharpened Horns and another Skink Skirmisher unit in front of that. Then he has a big unit of Saurus Warriors. Next to that is the Bastillodon with the Solar Engine on it. Next to that is a unit of Skinks with 1 Croxagore in it. He was working on magnetizing his bases, so they're not actually sitting on the bases yet. Then another unit of Skink Priests, or Skink Skirmishers right next to that. Then he has another unit of Skink Skirmishers and a Salamander. Next to that is an Ancient Stegodon with Sharpened Horns. And then the lone model there is a Scar Veteran on a Cold One. This one has Light Armor, Luckstone, Great Weapon, and the Armor of Fortune. He also had another Scar Veteran on a Cold One in one of his units. That one had Dawnstone, Dragon Helm, Great Weapon, and the other Trickster's Shards. And then he had a Saurus Old Blood that was with the Temple Guard, also on a Cold One, with the Armor of Destiny, the Dragonbane Gem, and a Great Weapon. So a lot of scary things. And then there was a Skink Priest to Heavens that was a Dispel Caddy that was hiding somewhere. I just don't know where he was. I can't see him in these pictures. And so the Bretonnians prayed, so Lizardmen got turn one. And Lizardmen turn one started with the Scarvet on the Cold One failing his stupidity check and rambling forward like an inch. Um, the Ancient Steg stayed back, and the Salamander and the unit of Skink Skirmishers moved up very aggressively to start putting some pain on Bretonnia. And on the other side, everything else moved up. The one thing of particular note here is the other Scar veteran that has the Dragonbane gem moved out of the unit and is headed right for those Errant Knights because the Errant Knights have the banner, the Flaming Banner. So he's basically just going to park in front of them and sit there and just attrition them down to nothing, ideally. And then over here you see the Skink Chief on the Pterodon flew all the way across the board to threaten the peasants' trebuchet and hopefully strip from them what little shooting they have in this army. And only thing to really note in Lizardmen Magic turn 1 is the Slan got a Comet of Cassandora off right on the Bretonnian trebuchet. And as this game will prove, that will be the first of many comets. And Lizardman shooting destroys the unit of 5 peasant bowmen that were on the hill. And that was pretty much it. They didn't do a whole heck of a lot of other shooting this early. And Bretonnia in turn 1 has the 3 main lances in the front moving up just a little bit. And Lord Alphoneous told me that his whole plan here was to get within charge range of the Bretonnia stuff, but still leave them at a pretty ridiculous charge for them. I think he needs, like on his next turn, he'll need single digits, and the Lizardmen will end up needing boxcars. So I thought that was pretty smart, and it's not over committing him. Then in this picture you can see the Knights Errants came up as well, and the Pegasus Knights flew over to try and deal with the Skink Priest that's over there threatening the trebuchet, and the Mounted Yeoman moved up really aggressively, basically just to block the skirmisher skinks there, but those skinks are going to run circles around them, and it's not looking really good for them because they are just peasants against a bunch of poison javelins. So Bretonnia Magic was pretty much a wash, I think. Shooting, the trebuchet hits the Bastiladon with the solar engine, but only manages to do a single wound to him. But then the second trebuchet comes in with the money shot and manages to finish him off. So the Bretonnians were very happy about being one dinosaur down before he has to get into combat. And having the solar engine off the board is always a good thing. So Lizardmen, you get a charge out of the source unit of the Old Blood, who runs right into the Grail Knights, thinking he's basically just going to chew them up. Now, Lord Alphoneous isn't sure whether he can beat this guy if he's not on the charge, but being that the Grail Knights can each take and receive challenges, he can definitely keep him tied up for quite a while. And of course, here is the other Saurus hero comes running into the Errant Knights. Again, this is going to be a tie-up, if not a savage beating for those Errant Knights, because the Saurus has got 2-up ward save on everything he can do. And then you see everything here in the middle moves up pretty aggressively. The one thing you can't see off to the side of this is that other Saurus hero failed his second straight stupidity test, and so he's just kind of wandering off by himself over there in the corner. But yeah, everything else is coming in tight and is hoping to use the fact that the Grail Knights are blocked up to go ahead and deal with each of these other 2 lances individually. And then the left flank, you see that the Temple Guard with the Slan Mage Priest is moving towards the building. He's wanting to get in there so he gets that 365 degree arc of visibility for all his signature spells, as he knows all of them. Then you see the one unit of skinks moves around to the side of the peasant yeoman, and the other one is moving up till right in front of the errant knights. And over here you see the skink chief basically makes a fool out of the Pegasus Knights, flies around, and points back at the trebuchet to still be threatening that. And start of magic phase for the Lizardmen. The comet that was sitting on the Bretonnian ballista, or the trebuchet, goes off, and this is what the Lizardmen player rolled for wounds. So yeah, it's a lot of damage from angry comets, which leads to one trebuchet being reduced to dust. Not even a hole in the ground to mark where it went. And in shooting, the skinks managed to take out only one of the mounted yeomen. They were actually rolling their 6-up armor saves like a beast to stay alive. And we go into combat, and the Bretonnians declare a challenge, and the Saurus is more than happy to murder their champion, but he rolls really bad and only gets one wound on him. So there was no overkill. The Bretonnians, being stubborn, easily stuck around. And in a total mirror of the other side, the Bretonnians declare a challenge. The Saurus murders one of them with no overkill, and the Grail Knights stick around as well. And in Bretonnia turn 2, the top unit of Knights of the Realm charge into the skink skirmishers and make it. The bottom unit charges into another unit of the skink skirmishers. They attempt to flee and are caught and run down. And this is just another picture of where that first knight unit charged the skinks. I, as just somebody watching this game, was really worried that they had showed their whole flank to the Saurus there. But Lord Alphoneous seemed to know what he was doing. I guess he was hoping he'd blow through those skinks and just keep running and be out of their line of sight at the end of this turn. And then on this flank you see that the yeomen have turned to face the skinks, and the Pegasus Knights are actually going in that direction as well. I guess he's thinking, with the skink chief being able to just fly back and forth over him, there's not really anywhere he can go to stop him from threatening that trebuchet, so I think the idea is just to get as many shots out of it as he can before the skink priest destroys it. And during magic, the prophetess gets off Comet of Cassandora, basically just on the other side of the building on top of the Saurus warriors. But the resulting miscast ends up killing 2 of the Knights Errant. So we go into combat, and this fight is actually really funny. The Saurus is challenged again by the Grail Knight. He has to accept. And he's just got a ridiculous number of high-strength attacks. He's going to get crazy amounts of overkill. Except his cold one, which goes before him, ended up sneaking through 1 wound and killing the Grail Knight in the challenge. So none of the Saurus' attacks went through, and the Grail Knight's stuck, because no problem. Then here, the Saurus actually declares a challenge, and the Prophetess of the Lady goes to the back. He manages to kill, it looks like 3 of the Knights Errant, but they're still stubborn. And Lord Alphoneous is rolling panic checks like a beast, or break checks like a beast, and they're stuck there for another round of combat. And in this fight, obviously the Knights of the Realm just destroy that skink unit. Unfortunately, the overrun, due to that one last guy hanging on the back of the Knight unit, does not get them out of line of sight of the big Saurus block there. So they're in trouble. And actually you can see the Skroxagor unit. That was actually That actually might have been the first thing he tried to charge, and it fled, so he redirected into the skinks. That makes more sense now. Sorry, we pretty much forgot about the Skroxagore unit all of this game, so it was a long night of Warhammer. It's kind of fuzzy. So going into Lizard turn 3, obviously the big unit of the Saurus charge into the flank of the Knight unit. They make it. I feel bad for that poor little guy there all by himself. The Ancient Steg here actually fails his charge into the front of the BSB's Knight unit, and he stumbles forward like 3-4 inches maybe. And the other source who finally gets over being stupid and the Salamander unit end up moving around and repositioning themselves here on the backside of the Knight unit. The Slaane's Mage Priest and his Temple Guard finally make it inside the building. The Skirmisher Skinks that had been in the middle here go to try and finish off the Peg Knights. And so, during Magic, the first thing that happens is the Comet of Cassandora that the Bretonnians had cast last turn went off at a big radius, ended up killing just a stupid number of the Slann that were right there. I think it killed one knight from maybe two of the Grail Knights and one Knight of the Realm. Plus, it did a bunch of wounds on some other stuff you can't quite see on the edge of the board here, but it was pretty ridiculous. And that was really all that happened during the Magic phase. So we go into shooting. The little skinks there shoot and take out two more of the peasant yeomen who, again, are just beasts and don't care. They're staying there. And the other skink unit fails to roll any poisons against the Pegasus Knights and don't get anything through. So during combat, the Skink Priest on the Pterodon, I forgot to show the charge earlier, but he charges the Trebuchet, kills it, and overruns to where you see him. Here, the Saurus Warrior, or the Saurus on the Cold One challenges again. The lady goes to the back, and he manages to kill only one more Errant Knight. And they're still stubborn, so they still stick it out. And for the second straight combat round, the Saurus's Cold One kills the Grail Knight before the Saurus can go. So the Saurus actually, I think, loses this one because of the static combat res. But he's cold-blooded. He's not going anywhere. And the Grail Knight did manage to get one. Well, I don't know if it was the Grail Knight that got one wound on him or the Comet of Cassandora. That may very well have been it. Okay, looks like I missed another charge here. The Steg ended up charging into the flank of the Knights as well. It killed a bunch of Knights on impact hits. But then the Lord made way, the Heroic Killing Blow Lord made way, and he one-shotted the Steg. The Saurus might have done one wound, but doesn't matter. Everybody stays and hangs around for a little while. Okay, so Bretonnian turn. The BSB's unit ends up charging into the Steg, makes it, but ends up losing 4 Knights to dangerous terrain as it runs through the forest there. That patch of brown is actually a forest. We just removed all the trees because with everybody running over it, I didn't want any of the trees to get broken and they were just getting in the way. And here the Pegasus Knights charge the Skinks who flee. Pegasus Knights fail the charge there. Okay, I'm going to have to apologize again. The last shot of a comet going off that killed everybody, that was actually one cast by the Lizardman Slann nearby where the Knights were. The white tokens that you see in the middle of the room, those are actually the Bretonnians' comet that went off this turn. And again, you see just killed a ridiculous number of the Slann. Or the Saurus, rather. And because that happened, it allowed combat to go well for the Bretonnians, who butchered the remaining few Saurus and ended up where you see them pointed at the building with the Slann and his temple guard. But I will note Lord Alphoneous was not stupid enough to send his Bretonnian lance off of their horses and into that building after them. And here you see that the BSB's Knight of the Realm unit ends up just destroying the ancient stag and ends up right there. And if you're counting, this makes the third straight combat round that the Saurus' Cold One kills a Grail Knight uh, without letting the Saurus attack. So the Grail Knights stick around. And at this point, it's really amusing because the only reason they're sticking around is that they're so pathetic that the Cold One can kill them. Um, but he's failing his ward and his armor just right. And over here, the same thing happens. The Saurus just can't kill anybody, so he kills one. The knights are steadfast and stay. So it's getting to the point where the Lizardmen player is thinking he's going to have to kill both of these units to a man to get rid of them. So start of Lizardman turn has the Skink Priest on the Pterodon charge into the back of the Pegasus Knights. He didn't flee because at this point, with the angle that they were coming in, he probably would have fled off the table. So he's kind of taken a gamble to see what happens here. I'd like to think the Bretonnians can win this one, but it's really kind of up in the air. And so on remaining movements, the fleeing skinks rally, the other skinks kind of circle around there, and that's pretty much all there is for movement on this side of the board. Everything else is either in the building or in combat. And on this flank, the fleeing Scrox unit finally turns around and rallies. And here you see that the Salamander unit is going for the one Knight of the Realm, and the other Saurus on a Cold One is going for the BSB's Knight of the Realm unit, and manages to park himself right in the flank there. So I'm pretty sure Magic was a wash here. So we go into shooting. Between the two units of Skink shooters, they finally managed to kill the bowmen. Had to kill him to a man because they were just super butch bowmen and weren't going to break. And it did actually take the shots of both remaining units of Skink javelin throwers to kill them. So they kept those guys tied up for a long time. And here you see the Skink Chief on the Pterodon kills and runs down the Pegasus Knights. So Lord Alphoneous just could not roll to hit to save his life, so he didn't inflict any wounds. And I don't even think I think the Pterodon might have inflicted one, so it was just charge back, one wound, and they broke and got ran down. And here you see the one wound being done is actually against the peasant, or the prophetess this time. So she takes one wound, and they stick again because, again, this Saurus can't kill more than one dude. Or no, actually, he does kill one dude. This is when the prophetess moves up to the front rank, but they're still steadfast and they stick. And then over here, if you're counting, this is the fourth combat round that the Cold One kills the Grail Knight before the Saurus can get involved in the action. It's just funny at this point. I mean, we're laughing, having a good time about the psycho rabid Cold One who is butchering Grail Knights. I guess living saints must be very tasty to reptile tongues. Okay, so Bretonnian turn. The BSB's Knight of the Realm unit turns around to face the Saurus that is trying to come in on its flank. The other Knight of the Realm unit turns around to line up a rear charge against this other Saurus, the Old Blood that's been jerking around with the Grail Knights all game. And we go straight into combat, where for the fifth round, the Psycho Living Saint eating Cold One strikes again. Takes down one more Grail Knight in the challenge before the Saurus can get involved. And the Grail Knights stick yet again. We're not even sure how many consecutive leadership checks he's making at this point, because he's holding these two units together and hasn't failed a fear check with the Knights Errant. And this is the point where the challenge occurs. The Saurus kills the lady, the prophetess of the lady, but the last two remaining errant knights are just unwilling to give him an inch of ground and stay there right in his face. So, top of Lizardmen turn, basically he's bringing everything in tight. He wants to get as many options to shoot stuff and to charge that skink priest in as he can, so he's bringing everything in close. I think this is turn 5. So he's just kind of bringing everything together for one last hurrah, and hopefully that will work to kill the Bretonnians in his mind. And over here, the Source on the Cold One fails his third stupidity check of the game with Cold-Blooded. So, like, mathematically, the idea that he's done 3 of these is just mind-blowing, but he's pretty much served himself up on a silver platter to that Knight Lance right now, and it's not going to be a good day to be a Saurus on the next Bretonnian turn. And then here you see he just brings up that Scrox unit so that he's within shooting range of the Knights of the Realm. He knows he's not really strong enough to do a whole lot, so he just wants to get close and hopefully throw some poison in there and try and weaken up the unit before they charge into the back of the Saurus there. And during magic, the Slann gets off, I think it's Searing Doom, that ends up just wrecking face on that unit. He actually, as strange as it is, even kills the prophet or the damsel in there, even though she only has a 6-up armor save. But all that's left there, I believe, is the champion, or maybe it's the standard bearer, and his lord, who can't be hit with anything. And again, the Saurus here kills one more Knight Errant. And the final remaining Knight Errant, the standard bearer, is standing strong. I think he rolled a 3 for his leadership. Those Knight Errants, I mean, both of these long Knight units, he's not doing a whole lot of damage, but he is holding up some serious heavy hitters all game long, and that's impressive in and of itself. Over here, the Knights finally break. But he doesn't catch them. They go like 5 inches, and he goes 4. So it was really kind of a bad run. But that's where they end up at this point. And 2 of the Knights died. I don't know why. Should have only been 1 with the challenge. But so start a Bretonnia turn. Bretonnia charges this lance into the last Saurus on a Cold One here. He's hoping to pretty much just bring the entire lance to bear on him, crush him, run him down, and just keep it going. Which will be good. It'd be nice if he can kill one of these guys before the end. And here we see the Lord and the standard bearer from that unit do charge into the back of this Saurus. He's only got to do 1 more wound, or maybe 2. This might be the old blood. It's kind of hard to tell. The paint scheme on all 3 of them are very similar. They're this kind of sandy scale, and I actually didn't keep the one where he noted which one was which. So now the only downside to this is that the Knights of the Grail Knights failed to rally and ran off the table. So the Lizardmen do get points for them, and that was an awful lot of points. But with no magic and no shooting, we go straight into close combat, and the Bretonnian Lord just murders face on the backside of this Saurus Cold One, and they end up reforming to face towards where the Knight Errants are. And here the Saurus on the Cold One finally murders the last of the Knight Errants and turns around to face the Bretonnian Lord. And in combat here, the Saurus manages to kill one Knight. It may be the champion of the unit, and the rest of the static combat res ends up doing him in. He actually breaks and runs off the table, and the Knights pursue, but they go off the table, but they'll be back. So, top of Lizardmen 6, as you can see, basically brings everything that can shoot within range of the Lord and that last remaining member of that Knight of the Realm unit, hoping to get some last minute points. And anything that can't shoot runs like hell to the other side of the table, so there's no risk for him losing points in the last turn here. And so this is the shot at the end of the game. The Lizardman shooting and magic was totally unable to do anything to the Lord or the last unit. So they stay. The Knights of the Realm come back on the table, and there's nothing that Bretonnia can do during the last turn. So they basically just ended the turn, and that ended the game. And it was close. We had to go to the points to figure out what happened. And by a margin of just a hair over 400 points, the Lizardmen won this one. So very close game. It's frankly one of the better games that Lord Alphoneous has had as the Bretonnians. I think he's very much starting to learn to be a little more aggressive and to try and get his charges in. It didn't work with all of his units, but he definitely had the two Knights of the Realm units with his Lord out there doing work, which is always good to see. And I think for the tournament that we're going to, this is a pretty good list. Now, the funny thing about this tournament is the fellow who's playing the Lizardmen here, he organized it mainly just to be for the local guys. There's here in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, and Jamestown, where I'm at, there's a lot of casual guys that don't get into the tournament scene, and then there's a little rabid stripe of tournament guys. And so his idea was to go ahead and just have kind of a fun, laid-back tourney for those of us who have never done it before. So he invited our club, although myself and Lord Alphoneous are the only two members that are going, and invited just some other local guys. Now, what apparently has happened is the tournament organizer recently went to the U.S. Masters, and he placed 5th by points, and so met a lot of guys there. So apparently word has gotten out amongst some of those guys, so now there's some pretty big talent showing up at this tournament, and what was going to be like a 10-man just fun one day has doubled, and there's now some serious tourney guys there. I know if you've ever seen his battle reports, Once Bitten 360 is going to be there, who I'm very much excited to to play against. But it went from just kind of a bunch of us bumbling around who've never done a tournament to some serious games. So we're trying to step up our ability to play. But at heart, Lord Alphoneous and myself are still very casual players. We're still relatively new to the hobby. Although I did play back in like 4th edition and came back. In the new edition, we're both very new. So I think our aims are to go in, have fun, meet some new people, get our butts kicked, but learn from some pretty amazing players, and just kind of see what this tournament scene is about. And I think this is a great list for him to go and do that. I know he's been getting a little frustrated with Bretonnia lately, understandably so. They've got a sheer cliff for a learning curve. But I think he's starting to get it. He's got a strong build, and I think we're both very, very much looking forward to this weekend and how it goes. Speaking about my first exposure to the Lizardmen, they've got some neat tricks, but I have to admit I'm not terribly impressed. And that's not to say that they're not strong. I mean, he had some pretty crazy stuff going on, but just for my style of play, and kind of what I like to see, it reminds me a little too much of the older editions and the Hero Hammer. Really, he had what, three characters, and his Slan were doing 90% of the lifting in this battle. And well, I guess he had five characters because he had the skink chief and the skink priest as well, that were causing trouble. And I don't know. I don't know. I didn't think much of it. The models look cool, and to be honest, before I decided to pick up the dwarves, I was considering Lizardmen. But if I were playing them, I would do just all giant dinosaurs and run around trying to stomp face. And the only thing that stopped me doing that was the prices of some of the GW new kits. So I'm actually kind of glad that I saw this and got to experience it before I went to buy it, because I really don't think I would. But I'll get to play them with my ogres in a game that takes place exactly right after this one. Same table, same board setup, everything. I'm hoping to get the battle report for that one up tomorrow. And we'll see how well the ogres fared against the same army compared to Bretonnia. So, all in all, it was a great game to watch. It was very close. And we all had fun. I mean, we were sitting there just having a good time, and I really think that's what this game is about. I've played other games before where you get into the tourney scene, and everybody becomes so super serious, and it's all about how to win, and nobody has a good time. And the TO has promised me that he's working for a lighthearted event. So if it goes anything like this game and the next game that we played, I think we're going to have a blast. So thanks for watching. I know this roundup is a little bit more long-winded than my normal, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen, if anyone still has by this point. But if you like what you saw here, please like, subscribe to the video. If you see anything we did right, wrong, any comments that you have on either this list for Lord Alphoneous or just thoughts on the Lizardmen in general, more than happy to hear them. I do keep up with the comments fairly well, so love to get more discussion going on. And again, everybody, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.